Hello, all of my well-balanced solopreneurs. I hope you're doing fabulously well today, enjoying this energy of this full moon, this lunar eclipse, and Mercury retrograde, because let's stack it all on top of each other. I'm so excited today to have Joy Kingsborough back. She was in the summit, and here she is again. Welcome, Joy.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cindy, for having me. And thank you, everybody. Hello. Good to see you again.
Yes, so good to have you back. It's been a while. It's been since April, since the summit, and a lot has changed since then. And this group has grown a lot since then. And I know that they'll be really happy to see you back. But for those who haven't met you yet, can you introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. So my name is Joy, and I'm an intuitive. That's primarily when I think about who I am and how I show up in the world is I take all the things that I've learned. My background is in psychology and in business, and I interpret that through an intuitive lens. And I use a lot of intuitive tools to help support people to really fine tune who they are, who they came here to help, and how to tap into the universal wisdom that allows them to be incredibly successful, whatever success means for them. So sometimes I call myself an intuitive success coach. It's just kind of all those things.
All those. You're just you, right?
I'm just me.
Yeah,
I'm just me, and I just tell you stuff about you.
right. And I know I've been working with you for the last 6 months, and it has absolutely blown my mind how much I have shifted and changed and stepped into my power as a result of getting a clear understanding of who I am and why I do what I do, which is super important. Thinking back, one of my biggest values in my life is freedom. And yet I was working a job where I was completely tied to my desk, stuck in my own cubicle that I had made for myself, and I was miserable until Joy come along and tell me, "Hold on a second. That's not who you are." And now I work like 20 hours a week. I sit out on
I think there's,
patio.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a blessing having you in my life and learning what's most important in my life and realizing that I can make money and make a good living not working my ass off.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So out of all of that, I came up with this other thing that I'm so excited about, and I realized that there's so many things in the coaching industry that drive me crazy. All this, perfection, and you have to have all the landing pages and the testimonials have to be in the right place on the landing pages, and you need to make sure that your headshot is beautiful and that you look perfect, because otherwise you'll never sell anything.
Right?
What? What's that all about?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so you've got this process that you teach that blew my mind, how it works. Can you speak a little bit about that and, tease them a little?
Sure. Let's see what comes out. So yeah, I think we've all been there. We aren't born entrepreneurs that know how to do all this stuff,
Mhm.
right? It takes a little trial and error, and we are helping each other and we learn from each other. And I've taken a lot of courses and spent tens of thousands of dollars. And that's a really shy estimate of what I probably actually spent
Mm.
trying to learn, what are those funnels? What are those things? Until I went back to actually, who am I? Who am I here to help? And how do I best move that out into the world, working with the alignment of the universe? And I'll just express briefly why that's important to me is that, we have all these ideas and things that we've made up as humans for how things work. But above all of that, nature has a code. Nature has a way of doing things that have nothing to do with us. Think about a tree growing or reproduction or any of these, the process of our body being able to process proteins. None of that had anything to do with us designing or saying how that was possible.
Mm.
It's this thing called the universe or God, or however you want to look at the development of these beings on this planet. So I thought if I look at entrepreneurship and business from a universal perspective, how can I tap into and leverage those ideas that work really well for nature?
Mm.
How can we use those in our businesses to create success? And that's how Salescraft was born. And so in Salescraft, we're taking some simple ideas, but really diving deeply into them so that you can apply them into your business and completely shift your ability to create revenue in your business right away. And in this last class that we ran, that happened for I don't know what the percentage of the people were, but I was getting messages every single day about how they were shifting and creating more sales. And it was just the simplest of tweaks that all of a sudden brought in new clients.
Mm.
I'm really passionate about that. I don't think it needs to be hard. Exactly what you're talking about in your business. It doesn't have to be hard.
Mm-mm.
It just needs to be in alignment, right? And we find that proper alignment, right? So in Salescraft, we're looking at things like, who am I and who's my client? But we're looking at that from a universal code perspective. So I'm actually diving into numerology in a way that's never been done. I don't know anybody else who's done this. And I actually tell you who your contract is with your client,
Mm.
exactly what that is, exactly who it is, what they're afraid of, what they're excited about, and how to speak to them. So
Mm.
we're diving into that in Salescraft, right? Like, imagine knowing exactly who your client is without having to do all those pages and reports and fill things out, and where are they shopping and what's your name, and all the things that we've done in all these
I
programs,
mean,
right?
I don't need to know what kind of coffee they drink.
No, you don't. You
What?
just need to know what you take. Because you can ask your client those things when you are working with them and they're giving you money and you're giving them value. You can have those conversations.
Right.
You don't have to know that ahead of time. And I think that's a real big sabotage because, I was working with a client a couple of days ago who is a multimillionaire. He's a successful coach. He's one of those that charges a lot of money to work with him. And he was like, how in the world do I figure out my ideal client?
Mm.
This was still his big question. And that's not unusual. So everybody who's saying, I still don't know my ideal client, I've been doing this forever and I still don't know my ideal client, it is a big reason why it's a challenge, but it also isn't something that's easily answered. And so I feel like I've created a process, a way to understand that does make it easy so we can stop wasting mental and emotional energy on that question.
Mm-hmm.
And we can just dive into creating programs for them and increasing our confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in Salescraft, we do that. And then we talk about, what are the reasons why you're not getting to your client? What are the things that you're doing that are sabotaging that energetically? What are the things that you can do to leverage who you are for your ideal client? And put that all together into the natural flow of the universe, right? So it sounds a little, when I say it that way, like the universe, right? Like the magical unicorn will take you to your clients. It's not like that.
No, it's
I,
not.
I'm actually a little like when I look at the numbers, I see it from that really big place. Like I see how the universe is operating, but I do like to bring it into like, you were born in this date, you have this client, this is what you guys talk about, this is how you navigate doubt. I actually really like that structured, you know, knowing what to do with that information. That's really important to me, like where to go with it, not just to see it and know it and to, have a glimpse of it or tap into it, but like where do we actually take that into our businesses so I can create more money,
Right.
right? I I'm all about accessibility. I'm all about creating an even playing field for us. But in order to do that, we all have to be focused on our own abundance while we're creating impact for others. It can't be just about the impact for others or just about the money for ourselves. It has to be both, right?
Absolutely. That is part of the reason why I created Impact, which is where Salescraft is going to go into. But yeah,
Right?
I went on this rampage. Many of you who are watching this on the replay or live saw me go on this rampage about the coaching industry and how there's coaches out there who are charging 10, 15, $20,000 for coaching that may not necessarily work because it's not tied into this code or it's old school information and it just doesn't work anymore in today's business world. And so, and I believe that everybody on this planet deserves access to this information.
Yes.
And we have
Yes.
no right to charge that much money for information that everybody believes should have access to. And I don't think anybody should have to take food off the table for their children in order to get it either.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that so much, which is why I'm really inspired to bring Salescraft into Impact as an offering that is just for your. We've got a special offer just for your people, which I'm really excited about. But the reason I'm so excited is because I share that same idea. The information in this program is everybody should have it. This
Yes.
isn't something that you should wait until you've made some money so then you can find out who your ideal client is or how to connect with them and create sales.
No.
That's the first thing you need to know is how do I generate revenue for my business? I need cash flow.
Yeah.
Right? I need cash flow to be in business. So this is to me something that is a perfect fit for accessibility is how can we create the greatest amount of impact for the least amount of money?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So really bringing those things together, like how can we create an opportunity for people to come in and say, and get really good quality coaching, really good quality conversations to change their perspective, to be able to tap into amazing resources like you're providing, which is beautiful. And to be able to come in and have access to the teaching that we're going to do on August 20th,
Yes.
by the way. So for those of you who are listening in are like, okay, when are we doing this? August 20th. I'm actually going to reveal some of the things I'm going to do a mini training around this conversation because I want everybody to be able to go make money right now. And
Yes.
I don't need to take a percentage. I don't need to be a part of that in a big picture perspective. I just want to share the information and create impact the same as you do, which is why it's such a cool alignment because then it allows everybody else to go create impact.
Exactly. Exactly. And the more people that are creating impact, the better the world becomes.
Right.
That's what my whole goal is. I just want the world to be a better place, really.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. And
so agreed.
part of that comes from if we as human beings make more money and we have a positive impact, that just creates this ripple effect that just keeps going and going and going. Instead of
Yeah.
the negative impact, we don't want that. We don't want that.
Yeah. Right? Because think about what if we had a world with people who really wanted to help each other and who, when you think about, and everybody listening in here in your group, you're all people who want to create impact. I know that just from my experience with everybody who's been gathered into this space is you're coming from a place where you want to help others. So if you're coming from that place and you have millions of dollars, think about the decisions and the leverage you would have, the
Mm,
decisions you could make, the leverage you could have, the influence you could have over the way the world looks and operates. That's the big picture here. So what you're doing, this beautiful creation of impact, is the seed of that.
mhm.
It's bringing us all into that place where we can come together and make collective decisions and individual decisions that do literally create a new world. So it's not lip service. It's not, oh, I would like peace on earth and, whatever. Like, yes, but let's talk about how that can be real.
Yeah, let's actually make it happen instead of just
Let's
talking
do
about
it.
it. Yes.
Yeah. And yes for me first and for you first and for you first and for you first and whoever is here. Yes for you first.
Yeah,
And why for you first? Because without you, we can't do it together.
exactly.
So we've got to be able to bring each other along and so that we can create more and more tipping point moments within our society
Mm.
where we don't make some of these colossal crazy choices
Like
that we have made.
like
And I don't need to point them out.
like
Yeah.
like investing, thousands and tens of thousands of dollars in shit you've never done.
Right.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
And we've all done it. So
Right? Yeah, exactly. I remember, oh, this must have been about 10 years ago or something, running a demographic report on who my ideal client was. And it was 20 pages long. I knew the magazines they read, the coffee shops they went to, where they shopped, what clothing brands they wore. I knew everything about them except what their biggest fear was.
right.
How do you sell to that?
Right? Or what do they really want? Who cares what color is trending for them? Right?
Right?
I'm gonna pick as if I make all of my marketing pink. That's the trending color for my ideal client right now. That I'm gonna get them. They are so foolish that they're gonna see my pink marketing and they're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm all in." Right?
Right? Oh, but
How crazy is
you
that?
didn't put the testimonial in the right place on the sales page.
Yeah,
It's not gonna work.
that's gonna totally set it over the edge for you.
Right? Yeah. I know I was enrolled in Salescraft, and that's why I feel like this is such a good fit for Impact because it blew my mind. That one little thing of knowing who my ideal client was changed how I show up. It changed my conversation on Facebook Lives. It changed my conversation with my private clients. And just that, it was just literally like, ding, just that much. And it made all the difference in the world. So, yes,
Yeah.
huge, huge. And I need Salescraft to be shown to absolutely everybody on the planet.
Let's do it.
That's my goal. How many people are
Let's
there?
do it.
7 billion?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Everybody in the world. I think that's brilliant because there is a code. Every single person, if you're alive right now, you have a code.
Mhm.
You have someone you came here to help. I don't care what industry you're in, but if you're in a service industry, you should know who that is. Like, it's kind of important.
Kind of important. Yeah. The other thing that I really loved about Salescraft was how simple it was. It's a 5 week course, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
The, ex-
Yeah.
the extended version is 5 weeks. But you were able to give us the information in a way that was so simple and so streamlined that I wasn't like, you could dive into numerology for months and years and get really lost and confused if you don't know the way. But you were able to give us numerology in a way that was like, bam, I get it, done. Now I know what to do. It
Right.
was so cool. And everybody who's
It's really
watching this
direct.
knows I keep it simple. I'm all about simple.
It's really direct. In fact, I would love, like, I'm feeling really inspired that those who show up live, I'd be happy to go, like, take a section of that workshop and tell people, like, maybe we'll pick 5 people live on the call, live on the workshop, and I'll tell them their client,
Ooh, that'd be cool.
right? Because it's that direct and simple. And that I think that's the kind of information that it's the kind of value that they can take. Anybody can take that information and go run with it, and you can take the course and you can go deeper, and there's always deeper and there's always better understanding, but that alone can shift somebody's life. I would love to be able to do that. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, totally.
So
Little hot seats.
it's your game. That's what feels good right now. I'm like, oh, let's just do it. Let's
I
just
just
tell people their
I
clients.
love how we just show up live and we're like completely unscripted. Let's see what we talk about. Let's see what comes out.
Let's just do stuff.
August
We're cool.
20th at 11 a.m. Pacific. We know that much, and that's about all we know.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about
We're going
salescraft.
to talk about salescraft and how selling can become so easy and enjoyable. I remember doing sales calls, not even 6 months ago, doing sales
Yeah.
calls for my group program. And I would get on that call and it would take me an hour to prep for it. And I had a script and I was following all the rules that my old coach gave me. And I had all my objections prepared in advance so that I could address them and all the things. And then
Such a good student.
I know. And then I spend like 10 minutes with Joy in Salescraft and boom, done.
Right. It just doesn't have to be that hard.
It's
I
really
think I spend most of my days with my clients undoing all the stuff that's got them spinning.
right. But so and so told me that I have to do it this way, Joy.
Right. How's that working?
I'm currently chained to my desk and I haven't had an adventure in more than over a year.
Right. Not sure when the last time I had a glass of water. What's going on? Yeah.
I can picture somebody like crawling across the desert right now, just desperate. Yeah. It
Yeah.
takes out the desperation first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just it too. It's like, ideal client isn't the big thing, but we do have to know it. We have to know that code.
Hmm.
I think in order for that ease, it ties in with some of the other pieces that we'll talk about in salescraft that really help give us that confidence and ease.
Hmm.
Sales is not, I would say 99.9% of the time, sales is not easy for a coach or a healer or a teacher or someone who's sharing a message that has massive impact. And that's created a disservice in our entire world, because that means those messages aren't getting out. The messages that are getting out are the really powerful marketers are sharing their perspective of the world, which is trying to make you a marketer. But if your mission in life is not to make people better marketers, but to actually create transformation, to help them heal, to, whatever it is that you want to do that has massive impact that doesn't have to do with marketing, then you're not getting the information you need. People aren't getting the information they need. And that's why the world is transforming slowly when it has to do with consciousness and personal development, those aspects that are creating people who are a society that's more empowered. That's why it's slow.
Mm-hmm.
And so this removes that barrier. I really do believe, out of all the trainings that I've developed, I think it's the smallest, most bite-sized, most direct, but also the greatest immediate impact. Because of that, it really just removes the barrier to sales, because you don't need to do all the other stuff. You can, if you want, you can add that in, but understanding this core, you can sell without having those pieces in place, and you can just get better and better and better over time without having to be without cash flow.
Yes, and that speaks to no more shiny object syndrome.
Right.
Oh my God, how many clients?
Imagine no more FOMO.
Oh, you mean I don't have to be on all 6 social media platforms, and I don't have to have a
No.
website and a membership platform, and 7 different ways to collect payment, and what?
I'm exhausted just thinking about it, let alone implement it.
I could see your face. You're like, no. I tuned out a few minutes ago.
Right? Not even close.
Right.
And I know that that's true, not just from my experience. I know that's true even from the client I mentioned earlier, who's, multiple 6 figures. He's not doing that either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not a requirement. And if all of your cash flow is going to be to showing up as a shiny object in the world, then you don't get to do the fun things that you want to do. All your money's going into creating FOMO for others, right? FOMO for others.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And
It's true. Yeah.
and usually what I see when people are trying to do all the things that the marketers tell them to do, they are chained to their desk. Or they have a
Right.
huge team doing all of it for them, and then now that you're managing a whole bunch of people instead of showing up in service.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that disheartens me. And that was the inspiration for it, as I'm sick of seeing really good people not heard from
Right.
in the market.
Yeah. Yeah. So Carrie is asking, what if everyone is your client?
Well, I would say that everyone can be your client. So I'm going to say a little different than most people, because most people will say, well, not everybody's your client. Well, yes, everybody can be your client. But your client has a particular problem in the moment. So while everyone can be your client, they're only your client the moment they have the fear and desire that is specific to your chart. So there is something that you came here to speak to and to heal and to shift and to transform. And when you know what that is, then the person who's in front of you, or the person down the street, or the person who hasn't heard of you yet, can find you. And in the moment of that challenge, they can tap into you. So your ideal client contract is less about a person and more about the moment that their breakthrough moment. So that client wants a particular breakthrough, and it means everything to them. That's the moment you want to tap into them. So think about when I was 100 pounds overweight, and I really, that my focus was losing weight. Well, I would have been an ideal client for somebody who helps do that, who helps with that transformation. I'm no longer their client. I'm not looking for that transformation. I've had it. So I'm no longer that person's client, which means somebody else's. So it's understanding the client problem and desire so well that everyone can be your client. If that makes sense. As long as they have that challenge.
Right. Yeah. It's all about that moment in time, right? And that's when the people that are your client are going to show up, and they'll find you if you're not distracted by all the things.
Right?
And you're showing up the lighthouse.
Yeah. And I'll give an example. So my chart's very specific. My chart, and it is from my chart, not because I cleverly figured it out. It's in my chart. Like, this is how clear it is. So in my chart, I am here to help people who have a very big mission to share with the world. They feel like they have this big message to share with the world, and they're afraid that they won't be able to do it. Like, that is one of the deep down fears, that somehow they won't have the pieces, the resources, whatever it is, in order to fulfill that vision. And so as a result, it keeps them small instead of living in their fullness. It keeps them from living in their personal power. That's something I've been aware of over time, but I've not spoken to it directly until I knew that that is what they care about.
Mm-hmm.
And so my client will only care about that while they're figuring that out. It's important to you to get this out because you have a big vision for the world, Cindy.
Mm-hmm.
And for everybody else who's tuning in, like, there's a big vision, and I'm there at that moment when you're ready to move it out into the world. That's how I can best help. So when I focus on that, and I don't focus on all the other things that I can help with emotional mastery, I can help with other things. I can have other conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But if I focus there, then I will help 100% of who I came here to help.
Yes.
Period. I won't be detoured. And therefore, my clients can find me. I will be abundantly appreciated by the universe for showing up and doing what I said I'd come here and do. Right? I think that's the biggest thing, is that contract is what you said you do.
Right.
So are you going to be accountable to that contract or not? Right? And so if you're accountable to it, you're rewarded abundantly, and it's very easy. Pricing and all those things become very, very easy.
Yeah.
Right? So hopefully that answers Carrie's question.
Yeah. So I'll just check the comments and just see. She hasn't responded yet. So yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's tie this all together. So because it's impact and there's salescraft. There's two different things. So impact is a platform where we work smart, not hard. I have made an effort to eliminate the shiny object syndrome in impact and created a community of like-minded, like-hearted solopreneurs where we can all gather, get the information we need, and move that forward. So I'm bringing in coaches such as Joy, who are willing and able to give back to the community. So Joy is offering Salescraft at a exclusive price for Impact members because she's just awesome. That's how she is. And so by bringing in these coaches that I have worked with, know, like, and trust, it eliminates but I need a coach for that. I have no idea who to go ask. You just find them in Impact because they have been vetted. And then there's a whole bunch of content in there that will help you to move your business forward. The online summit that I ran in April, it's there. All the extended interviews are in there. There is a flexible business planning for solopreneurs in there that is the simplest business plan you will ever create in your life. And you can drop your information about your ideal client in there from Salescraft because you'll get access
So
to
good.
Salescraft. There's so many things in there. I don't want to go through all of them. But the biggest thing is that we believe in freedom, collaboration, accessibility for everybody in Impact. And I just get goosebumps just even thinking about it. So
I know, I love it.
that's so exciting. So that is $33 a month for
That's
membership in
crazy.
Impact, right? I know. And as of right now, well, you're the only workshop in August, but I've got 2 lined up for September, and we're going to just keep going with 1 or 2 workshops per month from coaches who know what they're talking about and provide you information in the simplest, easiestly digestible way. I'm so
Yeah.
excited, I can't even talk.
Yeah, the bite-sized chunk.
Yes, that makes sense. So that is Impact, and within Impact will be Salescraft on August 20th at 11 a.m. So you'll want to get into Impact before then, otherwise you're going to miss out on Joy's workshop.
Oh my gosh, don't miss it. It'll be so fun. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about what it can do for you. And I love Impact. Cindy, thank you so much for including me. Like, I love what you're doing. I'm absolutely like 100% heart-based behind and supporting what you're doing. It's so beautiful. So
Yay.
thank you.
Thank you for being a part of it. I wouldn't have created it if you weren't in my life, so it's just meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
I would have still been
Yeah,
tied to my desk working 15-hour days and being miserable if I hadn't have met you.
Aw,
Yeah, you made my life simpler.
I'm so glad. And then you're moving things out into the world and you're creating impact in ways that you wouldn't have been able to do when you were that busy.
Never. Never.
So,
I certainly wasn't making impact 6 months ago. Yeah.
and look at you now.
Right? Freedom.
Literally, like, what a pun. You're making so much impact and you made impact. And you made the group.
It just seemed like the most fitting name.
It is perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right, everybody. I will leave the link for Impact in the comments so that you can find it and join us. And obviously, Joy and I will be talking about this a lot more in the next little while. So come join us in Impact and let's create an impact.
Yay. See you guys in there.